The new Michael Jackson biopic is getting mixed reviews. Critics are panning it, and fans propelled it to a record-breaking box office opening weekend. So what's the deal? Hey, I'm Mike. I studied film, I work in TV, and if you love movies as much as I do, hit that subscribe button and get notified when new content's posted. I don't typically do trailer reactions. I just don't think anybody wants to see me watching TV, but I did one when the first trailer for Michael dropped. As a kid of the 1980s, I'd be lying if I didn't say I was excited to see this biopic. It's from director Antoine Fuqua and screenwriter John Logan. Logan's responsible for the screenplays for the James Bond films Skyfall and Spectre, as well as the animated film Rango. Both Fuqua and Logan have a long list of credits. But it's producer Graham King's involvement that really made me sit up. He was the producer behind Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen biopic. So Michael has talented filmmakers behind it. And with most of the Jackson family serving as producers on the project, the soundtrack is a Michael Jackson Greatest Hits album going back to his Jackson 5 days. Oh, and like Bohemian Rhapsody, there's a cameo from a nearly unrecognizable Mike Myers, as yet another powerful music exec, this time the president of CBS Records, Walter Yetnikoff. So first let's talk about what I liked. Jafar Jackson is more than good. He literally is Michael Jackson in this film. I read that his vocals were blended with the original Michael Jackson tracks. And a lot of post-production fuckery can be done with audio these days, but what really sells Jafar Jackson as Michael are his moves. He is literally channeling his famous uncle on screen, and it's remarkable. From Michael's affect to his unmatched until now dance moves. Literally, no one else in history could match Michael Jackson's moves except someone who shares his DNA. Coleman Domingo is quite good as Joe Jackson and the antagonist of the film. Every time he's on screen, we feel an anxiety, and I think that's a good way to show the tension that existed between Joe and Michael. Some may say it was more palatable, others that their relationship was rockier. That's not for me to say. Family dynamics are hard to capture on film, but I think they did a pretty good job of showing us what was driving Michael, or more accurately, what was driving him away. The film starts with the formation of the Jackson 5 and takes us through Michael's liberation from his father Joe's micromanagement. And this is where I have to talk about what I didn't like about Michael. The trailer promises a biopic of the king of pop, the greatest pop star of all time. What we got was a whitewashed retelling of what the Jackson estate would like us to believe happened behind the scenes. Not for anything, but I, having lived through the late 70s and 80s, could have written this screenplay. It is nothing more than a visualization of what we as consumers of Michael's music experienced on the outside. Just as a casual fan of music, I sensed a huge gaping hole in this story. You might have seen it too. This is where I have to stop and tell you that my mother is the biggest Diana Ross fan in history, full stop. It is well documented that Diana Ross and Michael Jackson became friends early on and worked together on The Wiz. In 2009, Michael Jackson wrote that he wanted Diana Ross to care for his children should anything happen to his mother, Katherine Jackson. That's how important Diana Ross was to Michael Jackson. And she's not in the film. The actress who was cast as Diana Ross and filmed scenes for the movie said her scenes were cut out for legal reasons. It's his work on The Wiz with Diana Ross that also connected him with Quincy Jones, who was the music supervisor on The Wiz. Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson made the albums Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. In other words, everything that made Michael Jackson, you can connect directly to Quincy Jones. The film treats the writing of the Thriller album as Michael in the studio, by himself. By himself. Listen, as great as the King of Pop was, he surrounded himself with amazingly talented people. There is a blink and you missed it reference to Eddie Van Halen's contribution to Bad. Not that I would have expected that to be in the film. Okay, I'm calm. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Furthermore, there is no mention of Janet Jackson, arguably the second most famous Jackson in the household. Like, not even a Janet, put that down or stop hitting your brother kind of way. I mean, there is some gaping holes in the Michael Jackson story. Listen, I give them a lot of credit for mentioning Michael's obsession with plastic surgery, something that clearly got out of control after the scope of this movie ended, and for the nod to the start of his addiction to painkillers following the Pepsi commercial incident. And the film doesn't touch the sexual abuse allegations, probably for good reason. The Michael biopic does a very good job of showing us the Michael we already knew. It does a terrible job of peeling the curtain back on one of pop music's most influential figures and showing us who Michael really was. We wanted to see the actual story of the development of some of our favorite pop songs. And that's why I think critics are hating on Michael and audiences are loving it. It's little more than a 2-hour music video. Jafar Jackson does a step-for-step recreation of Michael's performance of Billie Jean at the 25th anniversary of Motown, much like Rami Malek's Live Aid performance in Bohemian Rhapsody. and Jafar is spellbinding. But the song Billie Jean is played in its entirety. In fact, I noticed that Michael Jackson's songs were weaved in and out of the score, playing in the background. His music is just that much a part of our cultural DNA that you don't even notice some of the background melodies are speaking directly to the actions in the scenes playing out. Okay, so what's my takeaway? I like Michael. I couldn't take my eyes off Jafar Jackson as the king of pop. It's safe. It's a Disney ride. It's heavily crafted, but it was fun. And man, that music. It makes you realize that a star like that comes around only once every generation or so. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Michael. I'd love to read yours in the comments below. As always, film is about community. I'm Mike, and I love movies.